if you have a choice in terms of I could do it this way or I could do it that way, as long as they're both genuine, you go with the one that's the more interesting one.
Right. Okay. Yeah.
Right. The analogy I make is we've all seen paintings in art galleries and craft shops of sunsets. But why did you buy that painting of that sunset? It's not just a painting of a sunset, because you could have picked one up for $25 somewhere. But for some reason, you just spent $1,500 on a painting of that sunset. There was something special about it. There was something that moved you. There was something that you went, oh, wow, that's special. That's gorgeous.
Yeah.
I want that around me. We got to do the same thing with our performances.
My next question, which has to do with that.
More questions.
One more, man. I got 3 more, but to be honest with you, but I'm gonna take liberties.
Okay, take liberties.
All right. Yeah, it's kind of equates to this though, because it's about the truth. It's about the truth of that person's lived experience versus what fits in the role. But generally speaking, I guess, and I'm digressing a little bit with this to say that my mother once told me. I think we were talking about her background in ballet and the stage and everything, and we were talking back and forth about this, and she kind of gave me a piece of advice and said that you have to find something you love or something that you see as truthful about the character. And I think she was kind of equating the two, because when she said love about even the villains, and I guess this kind of goes through a number of things that we brought up in this conversation, where when you're digging into being authentic, you have to find what's true and what you love, because I assume we all love the truth when we come to grips with learning how it is good for us, or how it reveals our flaws so we can deal with them or not. So truth in that sense, I guess, from what my mother was saying, was the vital, and love was the vital part of the character. So how much do you kind of play with that concept? And I think you probably already answered the question in that, but that I'm just interested in your reaction to that sort of idea.
Again, I don't judge my characters.
Right.
You can't judge your characters. You got to go, how do I get, again, the expression I use, how can I get into their skin? How can I think like them? What is their background? They're probably wealthier than me. They probably, maybe they've had 4 marriages. Maybe they're were born overseas. They have a whole life that isn't mine. But there are certain things that I don't care about, that isn't important to me bringing this character to life. And again, don't think reality. Think what's genuine, but what can I do that would be compelling?
Right.
Because certain things we go, I don't need to know. I don't need to know that his mother is from France. It has nothing to do with the story, and it has nothing to do with the film. But what I do have to think about is, why is he this way? What has happened to him? Why is he so afraid of talking to this woman that he obviously loves? I then get to create my own truth, because I go, if I do that, that works for me. Now I can sit on it. You hear what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And again, 80% of what we do is not found in the script. I really insist on that. So I create my own truth, but I only care about in terms of what's important to telling the story and getting the audience involved. Otherwise, it's not important. And that's why I say, forget about reality.
Right.
Forget about reality. Make it genuine and interesting. Right. And oftentimes you have to raise the stakes as well. And if we think about reality, there might not be enough stakes there. There might not be enough impetus for that character to have to do something. So I got to create my own stakes. Why does he finally talk to her? Why? What happens? And sometimes I don't care what they say. He might not even mean it. He might go, well, I don't want to live by myself anymore. Well, maybe I go, I deserve to have somebody who loves me back. Even though that's what he says. He says one thing, but what he's feeling, I think that's a more interesting choice for me. It becomes deeper, and it just works better. Right. Yeah. And again, that's our job.
Yeah, it's like if I interpret you correctly, it's sort of finding the place where we get it, because it's not about what we would do, but we get why that character would do that, what his whys are, whether it's because he's been slapped around so many times, and now in that moment, that's why the character is willing to go over the top, because when you read the page, it might say this guy's just way over the top, but you get to you find the pieces that allow you to get it. And in that sense, I think that's what I mean about
and again, you go, wow, it says that he keeps on is very dark, but let's say it says, and he keeps on hitting and hitting and hitting the person. I go, wow, why? Does he hate that person, or is he really hating his father? And I don't care which one I choose. I just go, which one drives it deeper and is possibly the more interesting choice.
Which one lets you really get it at its maximum, I guess.
You have to get it. You got to relate to it. But again, if you have a choice in terms of I could do it this way or I could do it that way, as long as they're both genuine, you go with the one that's the more interesting one.
Right. Okay. Yeah.
Right. The analogy I make is we've all seen paintings in art galleries and craft shops of sunsets. But why did you buy that painting of that sunset? It's not just a painting of a sunset, because you could have picked one up for $25 somewhere. But for some reason, you just spent $1,500 on a painting of that sunset. There was something special about it. There was something that moved you. There was something that you went, oh, wow, that's special. That's gorgeous.
Yeah.
I want that around me. We got to do the same thing with our performances.
Right.
Not just make a painting of a sunset. I don't care how many colors you have. That's not good enough.
Yeah.
You see what I'm getting at?
Yeah, I do. Yeah. No, that's very good.
Yeah.
Very good.
There's a lot of overlap between all artists, whether you're a painter, a sculptor, a novelist, a musician. We all have very, very similar jobs.
Yeah. It's like picking a moment, like an artist picks colors. If I'm reading you right.
I mean, look at Monet's great paintings. A lot of those colors weren't real, but we can't stop looking at them. So again, he wasn't trying to emulate reality. He was trying to go, for some reason, instinctively, he just went, that's gorgeous. That's more moving. Now, of course, he was crazy. But I think we all have to be a little bit of crazy. And again, you take logic and you throw it away sometimes.
Yeah. Excellent.
And he had the nerve to do it.
Yeah.
So we have to have the nerve to do certain things. You just go, I don't know why. When I do this, I think that's more interesting. It just is. And you just know it.
Yeah. Well, that's fantastic. Moving to a more mechanistic question, I guess, in terms of practicalities, when it comes to acting. I actually had in my head that you were going to say something that I now know you're not, which was that when it comes to a practical tool to prepare for a character, because I think I was reflecting on an interview with Anthony Hopkins that I watched, where he'll memorize 300 pages just by going through it like 300 times. So just read it over and over, and he spends hours doing that. You were saying a little earlier that you kind of look at things more like an hour beforehand, and so what would you say is the practical tool that you find is most valuable and in terms of preparing for a character, and what's the best way to approach it? Is if it's not memorization, I guess is what I'm saying, as a tool.
Well, I think that, I'm a big proponent of everybody's brain is different.
Right.
And when I coach people, I don't tell them how to do it. I just tell them where they need to get to, and they can figure out their own way there. And, if it's just learning lines, some people have to start looking at those lines a week beforehand. They need a whole week to get ready. And some people can look at it the night before, and some people can look at it the morning before. Again, it comes down to how your brain works. And there's no right or wrong. We're artists.